All right, so we've learned last year's technique for quadratics. We've learned quadratic forms. We're now on to grouping method. You'll know it's grouping method on tonight's homework because there's going to be 4 terms. So 4-term problems, you're going to go ahead and there's a technique you use where you split them up like so. It's called grouping. Some people call it the lightning bolt method because it looks kind of like a lightning bolt when you split it. And what you do is you look at the first 2 terms, so the first pair, and you find your greatest common factor. So 5x cubed and 4x squared have a greatest common factor of just x squared. And we're going to factor out that greatest common factor. So we're dividing each term by x squared, so you get 5x. 4x squared divided by x squared is just positive 4. And then you do the same thing for the next 2 terms. So you're finding your greatest common factor of 10x and 4. So both of those are divisible by 2. So I'm going to put a plus 2. And then you divide them both by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, so 5x. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so plus 4. And then grouping method then makes you find your last greatest common factor, and it's based on what you get, the similar expression you get for both terms. So notice how both of them are multiplied by 5x plus 4. That means I can factor out a 5x plus 4, and you're left over with everything that's on the outside, so the x squared plus 2. I'm going to highlight that so it's a little more obvious what just happened. Oh, Christmas colors, hooray. So after that, you just have to double check. If it's linear and a linear expression, you don't factor any further, but if it has any exponent on it, you just have to double check to see if you can factor more. Well, since it's squared, the only way that could factor is if this is a difference of perfect squares, but 2 is not a perfect square, so we are done. Let's see another. Okay, so 4 terms, you know it's going to be grouping method, so you just split it on up. You do your greatest common factor of each pair. So your greatest common factor of 4x cubed and x squared, 8x squared, is 4x squared, if I could speak. You divide each term by that 4x squared and you get x minus 2. And then we look at our next pair. The greatest common factor of negative 9x and 18. Now this is a little side comment. If your first term of the pair is negative, you do want to factor out a negative so that the parentheses match perfectly. So negative 9x and 18 have a common factor of negative 9. That way we get a positive x, like over here, so they match, and you get a negative 2. So then you factor out that common factor, so x minus 2, and then we have 4x squared minus 9. And then you check to see if anything factors more. So as a reminder, linear factors are done. But anything bigger than a linear factor, so quadratic, cubic, quartic, and so on, you got to double check. So 4x squared minus 9, that would be the same thing as 2x minus 3, 2x plus 3, because 4 and 9 are perfect squares. And you do the opposite sign because negative 3 times 3 would give you that negative 9. Done.